and by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us on another great day in the studio here at Talk Today as we invite you. We're going to start off with our good friends over at Lighthouse School. Hopefully you can partner with us and be a part of something that is positive and productive. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard.
And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Hey, welcome, and thanks for joining us. It's an opportunity for us to always learn, and they say there are always teachable moments in life. And I think when we get to sit with educators, we recognize how important that is to always be a student, not just of life, but one who don't just take copious notes, but one who appreciate that you learn not only, by participating. So I think as we look at what transpires in our education system, in particular, at institutions like the Lighthouse School, we have to marvel at how teaching and learning is continuous, is continual. So, Miss Laura, to you first. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Been a little under the weather, but I'm pleased to be here.
Okay.
Thank you for having us.
Well, my friend Mike says, if you think today is a bad day, try missing one. So, despite you feel under the weather, I hope you feel better. We're going to get you to, as I listen to Miss Susan, pull your mic closer. It's, kind of scary looking, but we won't make any comments about that. But you'll feel better, right?
You
can hear me now?
Is this good?
She's like, I don't think
It's
so.
like being on a Zoom call.
It is. Miss Chantal, how are you?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I am, thankfully. I can say that with the greatest of satisfaction. But even if I wasn't, I know I will be, because you got to be in the company of other people who help you to see life through their lens. And that can inspire and motivate and be also, a great reminder of where we are. Before we talk about some of the things that we're looking at in relation to maybe get the public to appreciate the Lighthouse School, how spectacular it is, where it is in our history, where it's come from, but what it means to not just us as our community, but to the students. We all want to learn. We want to have fellowship and camaraderie. So, Miss Laura, being a teacher at Lighthouse School, what is it like?
It's great. I think we get to do a real kind of variety of things because we do teach our students academics. We're doing English, maths, science, but we're also getting to work on vocational skills. So we have a garden, we have a cafe, and we get to go out to do lots of trips. We go out and just practice being out in the community. We go to Foster's. So we get to do like a real variety of stuff, which I really enjoy, and the students are very, very interesting. It's, for me, like, it's nice. I used to work as a science teacher, and I think working with special needs children, it's nicer because we get to know them so much better because we have smaller classes, so we really get to know the students we're working with.
I was thinking about today's discussion. I certainly want to join you in celebrating and promoting and inviting the public to participate. But I think too many times, and it may be because it's a small community and we know, or we think we know, But as you just described that school, that could be any school. That is a school. All the things you do, the field trips, the classes, and all the things, the skills they teach, it doesn't matter if it's a school over there or a school for this particular sort of demographic. Miss Chantel, it's a school. It is about teaching and learning and nurturing and loving and caring and inspiring and encouraging our students, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And yet, for some reason, when I look at the name that we've ascribed, the Lighthouse School, this is a maritime society, very strong maritime heritage. You're a vessel at sea. You want to see a lighthouse. I mean, that's the beacon. You want to see that. And yet, here's a school that we can see what is, a success, and we can see what it is. And for some reason, I was just questioning within me. So, as I think out loud, I wonder what is our perception today of Lighthouse School, and is it the positive wonder perception that it should be? And do we see the brilliance in the school? I was going to say, and I caught myself, it's a special place, but I know sometimes some societies will ascribe, special and not necessarily the most positive. But for me, you want what's on special today at the restaurant, because it's supposed to be the chef's favorite. You want that special thing that your mother has for you. Right, Miss Chantel?
Yeah,
Don't you?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So how do we see the specialness, the brilliance, the wonderfulness of Lighthouse? Those of us who are connected, either by volunteering, by having friends who have their children there, who by just being a very, very, willing partner in our community, we see the wonderfulness. But for those of us who may be unfamiliar, through your lens, Ms. Chantel, help us to see that specialness of the Lighthouse School.
Well, I think it's for the people who aren't familiar with our students, is just get involved.
Mm-hmm.
Come and see what the students are and the school is all about. And when you walk in there, then you learn. Sometimes it's just not being familiar.
Yeah.
The children, we sometimes take the kids and to the other schools, or the other kids will come and then they learn how our kids interact, and some of them haven't interacted with a child that has special needs before. Mm-hmm. So it's a great learning experience for them. And the research shows it actually helps them with their social and emotional intelligence, as well as helps our children with their communication skills.
I'm so glad you shared that, and I'm thanking you for allowing me to ask our public to look again in that. Just speaking to someone who volunteer, and I was very conscious. It's a discussion. We'll talk about your upcoming events and then things, but sometimes we can't see, the forest for the trees. We take so much for granted. We don't see what is even before us. And two of my brothers earlier were saying that they learn so much about themselves as they interact with others, and as a parent with other children's, other people's children, as a student, if you visit other schools, and when you interact with people who are maybe see things in a different way, you get to see how much more about you. Right, Miss Laura?
Yeah, and I think if you look at the slogans on our T-shirts and what we're trying to promote over the last couple of years, it's very much around inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So our slogan this year is "We all grow together," and I think that really encapsulates that kind of you need to challenge yourself, be exposed to people who are different from you in whatever way that might be, and that's how you grow, by interacting with people who are different, by giving yourself that opportunity to grow and to challenge yourself. And so that's really what it's about, is inclusion for everybody.
Isn't it incredible, right, that we ask people, even as motivators, and we pay someone to say something to us. We're one of hundreds of people in an audience, and the auditorium is filled, these clapping hands, and up on the stage there is this individual who's giving this inspiring speech, and step out of your comfort zone and all these things. And yet right next door to us we could volunteer and be in a place that if we don't consciously do, Chantel, we would not be out of our comfort zone. And yet the more we do it, the more comfortable, the more rewarding, the more that we recognize how invaluable that interaction is. And that, someone said the other day, do you realize that we wait all year for Valentine's Day, but we rarely go visit, our aging mother? We wait all year for these things, but, a 3-second prayer is too long, but, 3 seasons of some movie on some streaming device, we binge. I'm not getting to a sermon, but you get where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're great.
All right. We're going to make it work. All right. This inclusion, the participation. Every year, was it last year? Because it seems like since 2020,
Yes.
a day feels like a century. That beautiful, it's not even green, it's much more illuminating than that. It's not even, fluorescent, it's just vibrant.
Yes.
This year it's pink, or
light purple.
Lilac? No, light purple. I don't know.
It's
not
the same
pretty
color as your top, I think.
No. Men wear shirts, women wear whatever else. Blouses, tops. It's not a top. I'm just kidding. So it's the same color.
Yeah.
Look at that, huh?
You're prepared for us, yeah.
Shh, don't tell nobody. I was very conscious today because I want to feel included, and you've always invited all of us. That's the one thing I'll say this with sincerity. It's always been so good. We may have to make an effort to include others. You guys have never done. You've just been always welcoming, and for a minute of seriousness, thank you. It is that thing that maybe we need to recognize where we are sometimes, because we don't see life with the love through the same lens as the students at Lighthouse. So, thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Tell us about the shirts, because I want us to get one, but I want us to participate. But those look like art pieces. I mean, Picasso could not have done it better. I think if Eric Carle was to have an illustration, this would be perfect. So, students did it. Tell us about it, Miss Laura.
Well, it was a collaboration, so we got some ideas. So we came up with the slogan, we all grow together, and the students helped to collaborate to come up with the design. Yeah. So it's got a bunch of different children all around the world. So you are an
excellent teacher, but unfortunately I need Susan, get her into the microphone.
Sorry.
That's my fault.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to show the t-shirt on the radio. You can't see that, but you can hear me.
You are a teacher.
Not showing. So we've got a lovely t-shirt that our students helped us to design. So it's a picture of a bunch of different children all around the world, and it says we all grow together. And you'll also see on it, it's got this little infinity symbol, which many members of the autism community like that symbol to represent autism nowadays. So that's the symbol that we're using on our t-shirts now.
You know, what was that show that I'm sure for your children is to infinity and beyond?
Yes. Buzz Lightyear.
That's what it was. And that's what it should be, right? How much do I love you infinitely? And that is what is important. So when we come back from the break, can we get a few more minutes of your time?
Of course.
Can we talk about, what the t-shirt represents? I believe there's something coming up soon that we could be part of.
Yes, this Saturday.
Is it this Saturday?
Yeah.
Today's Tuesday? We gotta have a national holiday on Saturday. We can get everybody there. So we'll tell us what's going to happen on Saturday and how we can do it. And if you don't know, you're going to want to know, because you know what? You're going to have one of these. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square, and I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com. camantairways.com.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Digicel has teamed up with Capella. We're giving away tickets for you and a friend to attend Cayman's biggest music festival. Win 2 Capella tickets. Simply activate a 30-day Prime Max plan or be an active postpaid customer and you could be our lucky winner. Don't miss out on this epic event. Go to your nearest Digicel store today or the My Digicel app for your chance to win. Digicel. Better connected.
Let's talk health, Cayman. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is launching a public consultation on May 1st to help develop a new national health strategy for the Cayman Islands. And we need your help. We want to hear your thoughts and experiences with healthcare across all 3 of our islands. Your voice matters. Log on to gov.ky/health-wellness or email mohfeedback@gov.ky to learn more or to get involved.
Hey K-Man, this is Pastor Dwayne Ebanks. I want to invite you to come out and join us on Saturday, May 18th, 2024 for March for Jesus. I remember those events from years past and I'm so happy we're doing them again. So join us on Saturday, May 18th, March for Jesus, celebrating our Lord Jesus Christ.
For more information, visit christian.ky and click on the March for Jesus tab.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back, and from the Lighthouse School, Miss Laura Ryan, together with her colleague Miss Chantel Bang. I am hopeful that the love and respect that I feel for education, and in particular, teachers like yourselves, who, like my impression, all teachers, your job, it doesn't start and stop; it's continual, and to recognize the continued investment by your country in education, and in particular special needs. But I'm asking us as a country, how do we look at, the people who may need a little extra time? We need to be patient with our aging parents or a young child, or with someone who has just a little bit more of a challenge navigating the path. Are we rushing and grabbing and dragging, or are we nurturing and supportive? And hopefully we are. Now, Saturday, you were telling me there's something coming up on Saturday. It's a lot, but where, when? Miss Laura, you want to start us off, or you want to pivot to Miss Chantel? What's best for you? She's like, I don't know, man.
I can tell you.
Okay.
So this Saturday we're going to be back at Camana Bay. It's going to be at 7:15. We're inviting you to come, and we're going to do our 5K walk around Camana Bay again. So we're very excited. We had a really good turnout last year, and it was lots of fun. So we're hoping to have lots of people come again. We've had some donations. We've got some refreshments. We've got a face painter. We've got some raffle prizes. So it should be a good event. And we're going to have a snow cone machine as well. So come along, please, and support us. You don't have to walk the whole 5K if you don't want to. But we'd love to see you there.
She looks at me like, I'm not sure you can make it, man.
Well, it's 3. You do the loop 3 times. So, you can probably get away with just doing 1 loop and nobody will notice.
And it's something that I'm mindful of. There's some of us for different reasons, and I am in that camp. We offer assistance in different ways. Sometimes financially, we'll be behind the scenes volunteering, but physical active participation and being present means something, and sometimes even more so. Chantel, and this is one of those times when we come out, we are part of that sea of support, as it were, and we come away with, I was trying to think what color shirt is that, but anyway, our top. So we still can register, come up Saturday, or we do shop on the day and register, or can we register beforehand?
If you want to get your shirt,
yeah.
We still have plenty in stock.
Yeah, we're running out of a few sizes, so you want to get in there quick.
So you want to come over to the school to ensure you can get your shirt, and you can register at the school. I don't believe we can register online this year.
No, if you email us, we can send you the registration form, and you can register on the day as well. But if you want to ensure you get your size of T-shirt, it's better to come down to the school and get it in advance.
And for those who are not sure where the Lighthouse School is located, let us know. Where do you find Lighthouse School?
Right beside Red Bay Primary.
Right by Mira Miller Hall.
Yes. You're correct.
It's it's something to be admired, and when you see that the schools are not just close and they use the same facilities, but to watch their children, they're playing, enjoying, they want to get outside and run out and down just like every child would and should and can and will. But it's because of our teachers, and that is, like I said, something to be marveled. So we can come down in person, register. What's the cost this year? I think there's a special on, right? What's the cost, Miss Laura?
It's $25 or $15 for a youth shirt, and that will include your entrance to the 5K, and also you get a raffle ticket. So we've got some prizes like we got some Lloyd's Smokehouse vouchers, we got Costuless vouchers. I think Travel Pro gave us two return tickets to Cayman Brack. So we got some good prizes that you can win as well.
I almost want to joke. I'm going to give you those return tickets. I'm going to send you there, you stay. But no, you can go and come back. I know, Miss Chantel, but I'll take that. And so one ticket as an adult for $25. You can get 4 for $100. Or if you donate $10,000, we give you one ticket. It's a good deal.
Yeah.
And it's at 7:15 at Kamana Bay.
Yeah.
Where do we meet?
We'll meet down by the fountain. So I think that area is called the Crescent. And so we'll be there with what T-shirts we've got left, and you can register there. And that's where we'll do the raffle after the race.
So we start and end there.
Yeah.
And we walk, I think, up to Barkas and come back. Is that?
Up to where, sorry? Barkers?
Yeah,
if you want.
You can go. No, but it is part of that camaraderie and the enjoyment, and it's, I think, a recognition for some of us that there are thankfully many walks, and at 1 o'clock as something that has become part of a calendar, just like the Lighthouse School's annual walk, the DG 5K. It's about supporting, it's about partnering, it's about being present and accounted, and here is on a smaller scale in a sense, but the impact is as meaningful and as important, because despite the support of the wider community, the government, the students at the Lighthouse School, they want to feel, they want to share, they want to know. To you, Ms. Chantal, what would you say to our public who has much competing demands on a Saturday morning? There are many who are going to be in church. There are many who have sporting events, shopping. There are all the chores around the yard that need to be done. But for a short time, you step away. It's almost like fellowship. It's almost like ministry. Yeah. In fact, I would say it is, because you're doing something. Tell us why we should come. Give us that appeal as to, being a part of it on Saturday with you guys.
I'd say if you have the time, it's a wonderful experience. There's a lot of camaraderie. You get to meet the teachers, meet the students, and just all enjoy a nice walk together. If you're not able to come, but you have an interest in still getting involved, we also have Special Olympics. They meet in the evenings. Come if you have time. Come visit the school. We're always open to have some volunteers. So just come get involved, and we really hope to see you on Saturday.
Ms. Laura, it's to you. What does it mean? Because it's not just a fundraiser in itself. This is about showcasing the wonderfulness that is the Lighthouse School and its students.
Yeah, and April is Autism Acceptance Month. That's why we do it every April. So yes, we're raising funds which we can use to fund some of the different programs that our students do, but it is also around raising that understanding of what autism is and the acceptance of people with autism within our community. And that's kind of just as important for us, is just having that celebration of our autistic community once a year.
Yeah, and the thing is that it isn't so much in my mind that we hear a lot of, promotion and discussion. There's education, there's awareness, but he who knows it or she who knows it, who feels it knows it, right? And in a small community like this, think, what if it was you? Would you want to be included? Would you feel accepted? And here's a way that you don't need to even stretch your imagination to recognize that we are more like, and our differences want to make us stronger. Right, Miss Chantal?
Yeah. True.
I want to lie on days ending in Y. Other days I don't lie. That's all true. But Miss Laura, as we close our discussion, we talk about it. It's not just the design and the participation of our students in the T-shirts. I mean, they're great T-shirts. They breathe well. They take a good washing and they exercise well, I must say. Mine still looks good.
Yeah, they last forever, these T-shirts.
Yeah. They are amazing. I think we mightn't say much about the cars these days or some of the other, goods that we buy and put in our homes, but the T-shirts, they stand the test of time.
They do. I take these and I use them when I go diving. So, and all my other clothes I use when I go diving get destroyed, but these ones they doing very well. They're not got any holes in them. The colours will stay good, so they're good quality T-shirts.
I'm told that when you wash, you'll have clothes you separate, so the bright colours you don't wash with the other ones, right? Now, I'm not going to say this for everybody, but I've put mine into the darkest of the colours I'm washing with the jeans or in the lightest of colours. It doesn't fade, it doesn't run, it comes out nicely, and I don't have to iron it. They're good quality. I like that. Money well spent.
Yes.
All right, so we can get ours by coming to the school and registering. Take our chances on the day of, on this Saturday, at by the Crescent. Come on, baby. Come a little bit early, get signed up. It's a simple walk, great raffle after.
Yeah.
And then think about how you can volunteer, not just through, Lighthouse School and its programs, but Special Olympics and others. If I might, two last things to Ms. Chantal first. There are many people, when it comes to working with students, we think we need to come with a particular skill set. We need to have whatever that is, and we probably do, but maybe we are not open-minded enough. Maybe we don't give ourselves sufficient credit and have enough confidence that, hey, just come. What do you say to those who have been unsure whether what they have is sufficient, who they are is enough to contribute, and they want to volunteer, but there's some reticence? How do you help them to get over that and come and volunteer? What do they need to bring? What do you say to them?
Just bring a readiness to learn.
That's all?
And be ready to have a good time.
Just to go into school. That's all?
Yeah, that's it.
Is that true? I mean, she's young, Miss Laurie. That's all you need? Just come?
Yes, of course, and we're always happy to train people and teach people more about working with our students. So yeah, we were happy to help out if people want to learn more.
Yeah. And the more you learn, the more you realize that you're learning about yourself. I want to thank you very much for sharing with us today. I'm hoping that this will be another wonderful fundraiser, not just from the sale of T-shirts and the participation, but the wider community acknowledging, accepting, and recognizing the importance of inclusion and assisting. Thank you very much, Ms. Laura. Ms. Chantal.
Thank you.
God's willing, 6:15. I probably won't get there. 7:15. I probably can make it on Saturday.
Yes.
By the Crescent, right by the water, at Kamana Bay.
Yes.
All
well,
right.
Don't be late if you want to win the race. There's going to be a special prize for the winners.
Okay.
So.
Now see, too much pressure. I'm going to participate. I'm not going to be exerting any great effort to win.
There were some very fast runners last year.
So I heard.
And I think we had some people in wheelchairs going there's some special wheelchairs going very fast around the course. Yeah. We had some dogs racing, so there's a lot of competition out there.
I just want to come along and enjoy the company and stroll.
You can do that.
Yeah, the rest of the stuff, that's for those of us, man. But you can do that if you want, or you can be like me and just stroll and enjoy the fresh air, all right?
It's a good 5K if you do like running because it goes up a slope.
I know.
And so a lot of Cayman is very flat, so this is your opportunity to do some hill running.
That's what almost put me off last year. No, is it? I just want to... Hear me now. I want a casual early morning walk.
Okay.
I can do that.
You can do that if you want, yeah.
And for those who want to join me, God's Prayer Life, come this Saturday morning. I hope to see both of you there. God willing, I'll be there as well. All right? And we'll tell them more about it. All right, get our tickets. Nah, we just need the t-shirts. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square, and I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Digicel has teamed up with Capella. We're giving away tickets for you and a friend to attend Cayman's biggest music festival. Win 2 Capella tickets. Simply activate a 30-day Prime Max plan or be an active postpaid customer and you could be our lucky winner. Don't miss out on this epic event. Go to your nearest Digicel store today or the My Digicel app for your chance to win. Digicel. Better connected.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Shop at Funky Tangs, the home of electronics and more. Check out Funky Tangs' 2 locations, Shannon Road and Countryside Savannah, for loads of savings. In stock at Funky Tangs, both locations: stoves, fridges, and small appliances, mini split air conditioning units, sheets and comforters, all sizes, window curtains, cell phones and telephone accessories, musical instruments, karaoke and Bluetooth speakers. New service now available at Funky Tangs, computer and cell phone repairs. Funky Tangs. For more information, call 949-0998.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us in 2 all of our educators, thank you so much for everything that you do during the school day and as part of your, as I say, your job description. But those of us who are either married to the parent of, sibling, or otherwise of an educator, recognize their work is, almost without end. They constantly do, and they keep doing. And for those educators who work with our special needs children, even more so. So to our good friends over the Lighthouse School, thank you very much. For the PTA and the other volunteers and supporters, thank you. And this Saturday, 7:15 at Commander Bay. Thank you guys for supporting them. The t-shirts are fantastic. Now at 1 o'clock we get a chance to talk about the upcoming GG5K, and that support from that walk has also been an invaluable contribution to many great works through the various charities in our society. But this is what I think is indicative of a strong, healthy society, when we all do things together. I'll share, if she doesn't mind, Miss Abby. She works at one of the the local eateries, and she celebrates her birthday today. It was great to see her. Here is a young person with an incredible smile, a wonderful personality, someone who sees how giving isn't only that you're rewarded, but by giving you will encourage others to see the goodness, and most often will give in return because they've benefited. So happy birthday, Miss Abby. I hope you enjoy not just today, but endless, countless days, years ahead as well. And that is what we need in our community. Let's find a way to strengthen ourselves. Yes, there are differences, and yes, sometimes we may find a bit of discord and division, but it doesn't mean that we need to be so divided that we can't come together and appreciate that goodness and kindness and honesty and integrity and generosity. It should be the order of the day. But likewise, there has to be a sense of accountability and responsibility. Well, for a few minutes of open line, we want to invite you to share with us. 949-8037, 949-6990. You can WhatsApp call 925-32621. Be a part of something positive. It's not that life is without its challenges. It's not that every day we are smiling and we're happy. And it's not that some days, despite how we feel, that we're not sort of propelling ourselves. We're trying to find a momentum to step up and step forward. For some of us, it's the solitude of the places we retreat. For others, it's that sense of exertion in the garden or in the gym or other places that cause us to be so fatigued, mentally and physically, that we cannot but help to succumb to that slumber that sometimes often evades the restless heart. But it is, I think, important that in all we do and say, we recognize that there are many who wish that they could. My father has often reminded us that the reason that we should say grace, at least the example he set as to why he does, is that one, you're thankful that you have food to eat, and two, you can actually eat the food that you have. You think about it. He would say, seafarers are out at sea. What if you were adrift? Water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. Now, that's not a fate that we want to befall, but sadly, we know that it has hit close to home for many of us. And maybe that recognition of what it is should cause us to be a little bit more loving and kind and, respectful, a little more receptive to the things that happen, a little more sensitive to life's, sort of comings and goings. So, not everybody does it, and it's not to make those who don't to feel away, as we say. But you say your grace to give thanks that you have food to eat, and that you're thankful you can actually eat the food that you have. And that's what, sort of causes much, in our society to do and say and to be, because there's that attempt to be both grateful and gracious. Well, you're going to find increasingly over the coming months that maybe we're going to be tested. We're going to be challenged. We're going to be so sometimes, in an upheaval that we no longer may find that presence of mind to be able to think with a sense of logic and clarity. And perhaps maybe that's why now we are in that space of sobriety and civility and sanity, that we strengthen our relations, that we know that there's a space and a place where we have support. And for many people, that's absent, unfortunately. They are the only one that they can count on. There is no deep bench. There are no substitutes on their team. They're a team of one for different reasons. And then there are many of us who have so much around us, from people to money to other resources, and yet we act as if it's only us, and we say things like looking out for number one. Now, it's important, but self-care and being selfish is not synonymous. But if we have and we don't give, well, what do we have? I would say share and share alike. So 949-837, 949-6990, as we invite you to be a part of the discussion. Quick programming note, at 1 o'clock, we're going to have the distinct pleasure to talk to another event that's coming up, the DG 5K. And not just those who are assembled speaking to its promotion, but the fact that through it, whatever we may think about people or things or happenings, the idea is that if something good can be done with little or with a lot, then something good is being done, and the more good that is done, the better it is, or at least one would think. And through the DG 5K, we've recognized to date, a lot of funds have been raised. We'll remind you, just in case you haven't, been aware, that it's not just $1 or $2. It's a lot. We remind you also of the things that have been done with those funds. Let me give you two quick, simple reminders that have been, very, very public. We see an ambulance that has benefited many in our community. Probably even some of us may have taken a ride into it once or twice, and that benefits the whole community. But the very, large, perhaps the largest, I'm told, contingent of Special Olympians off to LA not long ago to be a part of the games. That was, funded and heavily supported by all those who participated in the DG 5K. Now, that shows the strength in our community. So we can talk about it for a while. And then 1:30, we have some good friends and folks from the Health Services Authority as we talk about Vaccination Week. That's a discussion. We'll focus on measles and MMR in particular, but that's 1:30. All right, we'll pause and we'll take a break. We'll do our headline news. When we come back, please, we invite you to rejoin us. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cable.
Praise time.
Praise him, praise him. Come and let's praise the Lord. Come and let's praise the Lord. Praise him in the morning and in the evening. Oh, let's praise the Lord.
Praise time in the morning.
Praise him, praise him.
Weekdays 6 to 6:30 a.m.
Radio K-Man, waking you up.
Rock my soul in the blues of my baby. Rock my soul in the blues of my baby.
Praise time.
I know he cares. He'll always be there. Oh, yeah. Praise him, praise him, praise him.
Prize Time.
Set your clock for 6 a.m. or you will miss it. This is the People's Radio Station. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Right now at the Cayman Islands National Museum in Georgetown, they are hosting their Heritage Showcase. You can find stew conch, stew turtle, stew whelks, and Cayman-style beef for sale, including cassava cakes, swanky, and tamarind juice. The showcase ends at 2 p.m. In international news, Rishi Sunak has promised billions more for defense to counter threats from an axis of authoritarian states. The Prime Minister said UK military spending would rise to 2.5% of national income by 2030 in a move that hardens a previous spending pledge. He stressed the UK was, quote, not on the brink of war, but claimed the extra money would put the country's defense industry on a war footing. The second day of Donald Trump's hush money trial got off to a rocky start for the former president's legal team. On Tuesday, Judge Juan Merchan heard arguments about whether comments Mr. Trump made about those involved in the case violated a gag order. Sparks quickly flew between his lead lawyer, Todd Blanche, and the judge. After prosecutors alleged 10 of his social media posts violated the order, Mr. Blanche argued his client had a right to address political attacks. Judge Merchan was not buying it. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
HSA's Urgent Care Clinic is now open 7 days per week to serve you better. Visit our dedicated team at Urgent Care, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and weekends and public holidays, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. No appointment necessary. If you are experiencing non-life-threatening symptoms and conditions, such as the cold and flu, sprains and cuts, earaches, nausea and vomiting, visit Urgent Care's walk-in clinic at the main entrance of the Georgetown Hospital, now open every day. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Geraldine Melba Grant, Certificate of Honor, 1912 to 2004. Nurse Grant performed dedicated service to the people of the Cayman Islands for 40 years. She was often away from home for days at a time, caring for her patients. She has received awards from the West Bay and Georgetown Seventh-day Adventist churches, 50s Club Cayman Islands, and Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, as well as the Certificate and Badge of Honor. Nurse Grant never let a patient's lack of money impair the quality of medical attention given, even though she and her own family made many sacrifices as a result. She was the sole provider for her family of 4 children, and she physically helped her uncle build their family home. When she wasn't nursing, she worked long hours plaiting thatch rope, which she sold to earn extra income. She delivered 200 babies, more than half of whose parents could not pay her for her services. She successfully nursed 7 people with typhoid fever, at least 4 of them unable to pay. She is a prime example of selfless, honest, and hardworking Caymanian whose name appears on the Wall of Honor.
Wherever you go in Grand Cayman, you can rely on Flow to keep you fully connected. If you are in the north, south, east, west, and all the other places in between, you get better speeds and a reliable connection with Cayman's largest network. We're fiber everywhere with speeds up to 1 gigabyte. Surf or stream with matching upload and download speeds. And game with zero lag anywhere on the island. Switch to Flow today. Join Cayman's largest network. Visit a Flow store or discoverflow.co.
The Family Resource Center has several upcoming parenting and family programs suited for all kinds of families, starting at the end of April. FRC continues to receive positive parent feedback, such as this most recent testimonial.
I can't express enough gratitude to the Family Resource Center.
The depth of knowledge and practical strategies shared throughout the sessions was truly transformative for my family. I highly recommend to any parent seeking effective tools and support in raising happy, resilient children. Thank you for making such a positive impact on my family dynamics.
Would you like to experience these same benefits for your family? Then contact the Family Resource Center at frc@gov.ky or call 949-0006 to learn more. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook to stay up to date. All programming is government funded and free of charge to residents who are raising children in the Cayman Islands.
CUC Advisory. Customers are advised of a scheduled outage on Thursday, April 25th between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. for Crichton Drive and all side roads in Crystal Harbor. For more information, please contact CUC's customer service team at 949-5200 or email service@cuc.ky.
The 2024 Deputy Governor's 5K Challenge will culminate in the final race event in Grand Cayman on Sunday, April 28th. There is still time to register. Registration is $25 for adults and $10 for children under 18. To register, visit www.racecaribbean.net. If you have any questions, you can email dg5k@gov.ky.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us. And the idea that you live in a community that has such a strong sense of giving and community, it's inspiring. It also encourages the rest of us to appreciate that too much is given, is much is required. And just prior to the break, I was referencing that our next segment, this one, if you weren't paying attention, we'll talk about the DG 5K. And it's not just a run walk. It's not just about a fundraiser. First through Miss Jennifer Ahern, I think it's more than that. I have a thought, but I'll wait for a second before I sort of verbalize it. But good afternoon to you. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having us on today, Sterling. And I'd like to say good afternoon to everybody listening. And we're very happy to be here. I'm joined this afternoon by two very important people. We have Mr. Lawrence Thompson, who is the director of the preschool at the NCVO, and Mr. Norman Klein, who is the managing partner of Appleby, who are our platinum sponsors for the DG's 5K. The DG is hoping to be able to join us. He's in another meeting, and it hasn't wrapped up in order for him to get here to come and be with us this afternoon, but I'm sure he'll join us as soon as he can, if he's able to. Yeah. But we're here to ask everybody to come out on Sunday to support the DG's 5K Challenge.
And I joke and jest sometimes, and I'm glad that I have one or two close people who are forgiving. They say, only you would laugh at that, not even your mother would, but it isn't a joke and jest to be disparaging or disrespectful. Maybe I need to be a little bit more mindful and but the office of deputy governor or premier and the work that they do is important. And I would joke and say, well, they're over there doing this, but because of what they do, we enjoy what we have. The wealth that we're able to build, Norm, the amount that we'll be able to contribute from our time, our talent, and our treasure makes our community stronger. So thanks, to you, to your colleagues, to your partnership, for your continued, not just donation, but invaluable participation in these things. So good afternoon to you.
Well, thanks for the praise, Sterling. We're happy to collaborate with the Deputy Governor again this year. This is our premier local charitable event. And again, this year, the DG has chosen 3 very worthy charities, and we're looking forward to being out, walking, running, jogging on Sunday morning, and raising money for these charities.
Indeed. Mr. Lawrence, it's one thing to be the recipient of something, some award or accolade, some fundraising endeavor that helps to facilitate programming, but that's just money or a resource. It's the people who participate who are giving probably the most valuable, their time, their presence. And to you and educators like you, exactly. you give. And you don't ask always. And you certainly don't get what you deserve, but you give. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Thank you. And we're really excited to be a recipient of this. I've noticed your theme there is supporting our future generations, and that's what we're all about, really. The NCVO is National Children's Voluntary Organization, and so we work with children in our foster care and in our preschool, and we're all about really empowering the next generation of Caymanians. So thank you for choosing us.
And I think, Ms. Jan, as co-chair, all the other hats that you wear in government, all the other things you may do in your public and private life, the fact that here is one, I don't even want to call it a walk, but let's just say, the DG5K, one of many great things, whether it's a stride or there are others. Just prior, when it comes to education, I'm just not just inspired by our teachers, but I look at them and I go, where do they find that energy, that endless enthusiasm? Our friends from Lighthouse School, they've got something on the table for. Relatively speaking, it's small, smaller numbers, less funds, but the impact is meaningful. I say that to share that through the DG5K, we've done a number of things that I referenced during the break, and through you, maybe help us as a community to appreciate that the impact has been global. The students who the athletes who went off to the Special Olympics, the largest contingent from a community like this, who were able to be able to go because of the funding of the DG5K. And that's no small feat. Just logistically getting that many people to a spot. You ever had a family gathering? Who's going to bring the plate of salad and who's not? So, collective impact.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the really amazing things about the DG's 5K is that, my individual registration fee of $25, I'm sure any one of the charities would be happy to receive it. But when you put my $25 with everybody else's $25 and then you add up the total that we're able to donate, it's just that collective impact of us coming together to support these charities is so much more significant than anything that I could do with my $25 as an individual. Yeah. And, the DG talks about it's a win-win-win. You get to come out and be part of the fun. If you haven't done the DG's 5K Challenge, it's our 10-year anniversary this year. We're really excited to have reached this milestone. And we get over 1,000 people usually on the start line here in Grand Cayman. It's our big event this weekend. And everybody's got their DG blue shirts on. And you're getting to see people that you haven't maybe seen for a long time. You're catching up with people that you maybe just have passed on the road and haven't seen and chatted to. You're up early. You feel the energy. You're doing something good for yourself. You're getting some fresh air, a bit of exercise. You're supporting these amazing charities. We have the NCVO. We have the Addison Kelly Memorial Scholarship Fund and the Boys to Men as well. They're the 3 beneficiaries this year. And you're just part of something much bigger than you as an individual, making an impact that is just so much greater than we could make on our own. So coming together, getting some exercise, supporting some of our important charities in our community, there's really no downside. And it's a lot of fun.
And I won't say it on air, but in code, we had an exchange earlier, and it's something I've done. And after late last evening, as if I sent the response to you, I was thinking, and so I've now changed my mind, but we'll talk about it. I do it, I know, and I say, it's one thing to give, it's one thing to be present. You're there in many ways, but what way is most meaningful? And it's your physical, presence. And I think, Norma, I was thinking about that in the sense that, your firm, you have a lot of demands on your day. It's not just the clients, the staff, the other things, but you're physically present, but you're also financially invested. And whether it's $1 billion that you just have under the rug and the carpet because it might rain and you can't get to the bank, or is that one penny in can't call it a tale in the scriptures, right, Miss Dolores? The lady who comes in and she sheepishly just gives a little bit she has because that's all she has, and then the person that comes in and making all this noise with the large sums. You give because you can. You give because you want to. And that's the example I think we need to follow now. We give because it means that we're contributing. For next year, for those who want to follow your lead and step up, we can give, right?
No, I think Cayman has a very active charity community, both charities and people who donate, companies that donate. I think it rivals any country in the world with the level of charitable giving that is present here.
Indeed. If I may ask Ms. Lorison and Ms. Jen, to you, with the funding that you receive, despite the other areas that you're in involvement with government, like, what does this mean to you? Want to be recognized, but then have you identified how you would want to maybe allocate some of the funds that you receive, some of the things that you were not able to do just yet, or you might actually be able to consider because now you're the recipient?
Well, to be honest, at this point, we are looking at really putting that towards our operational expenses, keeping us going, keeping us afloat. As a nonprofit, it's not always easy, It's not always easy. So you're not really sure where that next dollar is coming from. And so you do have the budget, and you do have to be very cautious about what you're doing. But this is really going to help us a lot with those overhead expenses. And again, when it comes in, we can sit down then and have a conversation like, oh, we do now have this pot of money. We'll know what the figure is, and then we'll definitely decide what's the best way to spend it.
To that, Ms. Jen, that sort of in my mind was setting us up to the question I want to ask you. Remind us of not just the sums we've donated thus far through our collective participation, but some of the things that we've done. And for the wider public, it is physically being present, but your $25, I know for me, it can be a challenge. It's 25 here and 25 there. Next thing you know, you're struggling, but you may think, oh, it doesn't matter, but a 25 times 4 is 100. And you're good at math, so 4 times something is X. Well, we get the picture. It's compounded, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, we've been, as I said, it's our 10-year anniversary. We didn't actually have 10 events because of COVID. We had the 2020 event in 2022, I think, eventually. But when we started in 2014, we were supporting Derek Haynes, who you may remember was running, I think it was 6 or 7 marathons trying to raise money for what was then known as hospice, but now known as Jasmine. And we were able to donate $12,500 toward his goal. So anybody who was part of that initial DG 5K back in 2014, when you see that amazing Jasmine building, you know that you were part of making that happen. You mentioned the Special Olympics athletes that we were able to support when they went to the World Games. We raised $50,000 for them. And it was an amazing moment to be able to watch them entering the stadium for those games, and they were broadcast globally to know that the DG 5K helped to get them there. And again, if you were part of that DG 5K, you helped make that happen. We supported the Cayman Heart Fund when they were fundraising to buy an ambulance for the Health Services Authority. So you may have seen the one that's got little Cayman Heart Fund logo on the side. That we were able to donate $60,000 for that. And then we supported the YMCA when they built their Ropes Challenge course, which is in the Field of Dreams. And if you haven't checked that out, it's definitely something to see. It's a great team building. It's great for adults. It's great for kids. I'm terrified of heights, so I don't go up to the top. And then in 2018, we supported Feed Our Future, Meals on Wheels, the Kiwanis Club of Grand Cayman in their breakfast program for the schools, as well as Kirkconnell Community Care Center in Cayman Brac and the Little Cayman Primary School. And then in 2019, we supported the Crisis Center, the Alex Panton Foundation, and the Special Needs Foundation of the Cayman Islands. And then the 2020 event, which was then 2021, and then it delayed again, and it actually happened in 2022. We supported the Cayman Islands Cancer Society with their HPV vaccination program. So it was about preventing future cases of cancer. We supported the MS Foundation and the Alzheimer's and Dementia Association, who recently launched their Dementia Friends program that was supported by some of the funds from the DG 5K. And then last year, we had the Red Cross and Loud Silent Voices and the United Against Bullying Foundation. So over the last 10 years, because of everybody's support, because of the support of our sponsors and the support of the community, we've been able to raise over $500,000 to help support some amazing charities in the Cayman Islands. So it's just been an incredible experience, and we're very excited about this year and the charities that we have on board, and we're really hoping to be able to give them some very nice donations when all is said and done.
And there's maybe 2 things I'd like to ask, but for us as we listen to it, let's just take 3 things, the ropes challenge and the ambulance, and then the participation of our Special Olympians. Those are tangible, meaning things that continually give. Yes, the athletes went on a trip, but for them, it's probably their first trip. For them, for some, even their chaperones maybe, but for that assistance, they would not. But look at the memories that they're going to have. and look at the motivation that they're gonna, and look how meaningful. But the ambulance and the rope course, in and of itself, continual. Now we had a question, if we may ask. You have 3 charities. You're raising, X. Is there a formula, or do you divide it equally? I know with the Lions Club that they do with their PACE challenge, they would pick and they would give, X percent to this one, X percent, and like for the DG 5K, we've selected 3. How do we?
We divide it equally across all of the charities. So each of the charities will receive a third of the net proceeds from the event.
Which is what you shared at the outset, and I want to show to the people that this funding, your money, isn't, you don't have to worry about it. It's going to be shared up. Everybody's going to get, and everybody's going to benefit in a way. And the more we give, wouldn't it be nice if this time it was 300,000 and everyone got 100,000?
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
That would be fantastic.
Much easier to, to split. 100,000 would be okay too, but 33 and a third, I don't know. We want. Wait, no, we can do that.
Yeah, no, and we wouldn't be able to have raised the amount that we've raised without the support of our sponsors. We have some amazing corporate sponsors. As I mentioned earlier, Applebee's, our platinum sponsor, they've been on board with us almost since the very beginning. The very first year when we did it, we had 2 sponsors, which were Cineco and DART. And that was because we weren't really focused on the fundraising aspect. We were just giving it a go to see if it was something that people might like to have fun and participate with. But starting in 2015, Applebee had been on since the very beginning, and they were our first and our only platinum sponsor that we've had. We have our gold sponsors, which are EY, Butterfield, Davenport Development. The credit union is a gold sponsor as well as DART. And then Cineco are our halfway mark sponsor. So if you haven't done the DG 5K, you won't have seen the amazing team from Cineco cheering you on at the halfway mark. It's really quite something. Some years they've got great big balloons, they've got fun wigs and sunglasses, and they're there clapping and cheering you on. So when you're on the course on Sunday, make sure you give Cineco a big smile and wave as you go by. We have 2 water stop sponsors, PwC and Maples, who make sure that we have water available on the course. On the subject of water, I want to ask everybody to please bring your own reusable water bottle. We're trying to make sure that we minimize the amount of waste and minimize the amount of plastic. So we're asking everyone to please bring your own refillable water bottle. But we will have water available on the course, thanks to PwC and Maples. And then we have some silver sponsors as well, the Health Services Authority, Walkers, KPMG, Teneo, HCCI, Circumference FS, Denton's, London and Amsterdam, Chris Johnson and Associates, Affinity Recruitment, Hyvern, and Cayman National Bank. So we've had amazing support from the corporate community, and without their support, it wouldn't have been possible to make the kind of impact that we've been able to make and raise the funds that we've been able to do.
In a very little short time. I mean, to think about it, we don't need to exercise or mathematical computations and say, well, X, sums raised over Y years equals that. The fact that it's been a meaningful impact, and the ambulance in itself, I keep thinking back, that is one more resource that the country does not have to allocate funds to acquire, but it means that there's collective ownership. Norm, if I may ask again to you, as Ms. Jen shared, as you talk about the DG 5K, the only platinum sponsor, and there are growing sort of requests of individuals and corporate entities, hey, assist us. Lots of need, lots of willingness, but sometimes with our time, as it was with our bank, we need to allocate where we think makes the most meaningful impact. You shared it before. Share again. Why the DG 5K?
Well, exactly. There are a lot of demands on our corporate giving budget and our time, and I think the Deputy Governor makes it easy for us in that way because he does the choosing. We don't have to. We get behind him, and we've been happy to do that. We've seen the event grow year on year, and it's an opportunity for us and our staff to get involved in healthy habits and exercise and corporate giving.
And this is it, you give to one thing that in this instance for the last few years, giving to 3. It's not unlike your parents sort of allocating things amongst you so that you benefit as a family. Mr. Loris, the theme this year, and I'm seeing it as I was going through my notes, almost an emerging theme. There's a collectiveness to the 5K, raising funds, but all of the respective charities are similar in its pursuits. For you, it helps to bring needed attention to?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. As much as we haven't earmarked one particular thing that you can say, okay, you bought us a bus or something like that, we have so many families that we support. We provide childcare that's subsidized. Okay, and there's so many families that take part in that. We provide parenting workshops. We have a pantry that we have available so that parents who are in need can get something from that. So we do a lot of things kind of behind the scenes. It's not necessarily the big NCVO thing, but our theme is, our mission is to be supportive, to provide care and education and well-being to the families who are in need and need support in the Cayman Islands. And so sometimes we'll have families who we know are struggling with food, and so we'll go out and we get a food voucher and we slip it in the kid's bag. Okay, so we do things like that. And of course, we have our foster home, and within the foster home, we provide counseling for those children. There's a tutor who comes on board. There are mentors who come alongside them. So you are really helping all of this, right? So it might not be one small thing, but it's a big thing because there's so many families that rely on us for support. And we are so grateful, to be able to now provide more support for those people. So thank you so much for that.
And and you picked up on the theme earlier about supporting our future generations, and I think the work that the NCVO does is just so important to making a difference. And it's the same, we talked with, Boys to Men, and their intervention can take a young man and make him take the next step on the right path rather than, the not right path. And then the work that the Addison Kelly Memorial Scholarship Fund is doing in terms of the support that they're giving for mental health education and the plans that they have for the funds raised to create a mental health first aid train the trainers program in our community. So it's just about making that next generation that's coming up, giving them a little bit of a boost, giving them a little bit of an advantage, a little more help, and hopefully making a real difference for them.
And I will say, if I could jump in here with my early childhood hat, research shows that the greatest impact on children, their brain develops the fastest, 0 to 5. All right, so this is when we need to make that impact. And that's what we're trying to do, really impact the children by giving them a high-quality early childhood education and impact the parents, who really empower them to, stand up and give their children what they need. So you're making a tremendous difference,
And it's interesting. I mean, we for many of us, we talk and think in numbers. What's the ROI on this investment? And that early childhood education, we're looking at between $8 to $12 for every dollar you spend. But the knock-on effect is a better society, and looking at whether it's the ambulance or whether it's something physical and tangible. This contribution through the NCVO maybe keeps the lights on, maybe provides other programming. But my $25 individual might help to buy maybe a candy these days with the cost of living. But 4 of us now, that's 100. That may be economies of scale. So in closing our discussion, on to you. We have a growing demands on our time, as we've talked about. We have seen globally a lot of things that we were glad weren't there when we were growing up, and we wish we could do. As you tap into your bag of wisdom, what do you say to our community? It's still time to register, and in closing, Ms. Jan will tell us how to register, but to whom much is given, much is required, and we don't always appreciate that. That's not just our talent and our time, our treasure, but it is collectively.
Yeah, and I think that applies in Cayman even more so. We benefit from the success of the Cayman Islands in a lot of ways. We have to do it one at a time, right? Yeah. One person at a time. We make a donation, one organization at a time, one family at a time. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing, and just start with yourselves, and I'm sure everyone else will join in.
You never know the value of the water until you have to back at the bucket yourself, they say, right? So how do we register? How do we part? Is there still time, Ms. Jan?
There is still time to register, but time is running out.
Yeah.
The online registration closes tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So that's Wednesday the 24th at 6 p.m. You can register at racecaribbean.net. And you can go on there. If you're a civil servant, you're able to select to pay with your payroll deduction. If you have your civil servant employee number, you can pay online. The package pickup is on Thursday and Friday between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. at the Government Administration Building public lobby. You will be able to register in person if you miss the online registration, but the registration fees go up by $10. So online registration until 6 p.m. tomorrow is $25 for adults and $10 for 17 and under. It goes up by $10 if you register in person on Thursday or Friday. We are asking if you do register in person on Thursday and Friday to bring exact cash. We're only accepting cash, and you'd need to bring exact cash, please, if you would. And if you're one of those really last-minute people, you can come out on the morning of. We start at 6:30 a.m. That's our start time, and we will start promptly at 6:30 because Ventisha, our race marshal, is a stickler for time. So
Good
I can assure you will be off at 6:30 sharp. But if you come out on race day, the price goes up by another $10. So it really does pay to register early. RaceCaribbean.net. Online registration closes tomorrow at 6 p.m. And then Thursday and Friday, you can come and pick up your package with your race bib and your t-shirt. Make sure you bring your reusable water bottle on Sunday. We will have some refreshments available. Water will be available on the course. But just please do register. Please come out, have some fun. If you've never done a 5K, this is a great one to do. Lots of energy to carry you around the whole course. You can walk, you can jog, you can run, you can do whatever you need to do to get you from the start to the finish. We do have a slight change in our course this year. It's just through town where there's the construction. So we will have people on the course to guide you in the right direction. We have clocked it. It's still 5K. It's not like 5.5K, or it's still 5K. But just to be aware that that is happening. But please, racecaribbean.net is where you can register, and we hope to see everybody bright and early on Sunday morning.
6:30, right?
6:30 Sunday morning start time, so you want to make sure you get here before that. When you get your race bib, it is assigned to you, so please don't swap it out with your friends and family. Make sure you wear your number, and that's also your raffle ticket on the day. So you tear the bottom off, you put it in the raffle box. We've got some fantastic prizes in the random draw as well, thanks to some great donations from some of our business community.
Well, thank you for coming on, and I'm hoping that after, sort of the tables have been tabulated, that you'll come back and you tell us.
Absolutely.
All right,
We'd love
that's
to
what we're
come.
looking for. And it's a sobering reminder of what we have here and what we can do and the importance of why we're doing it. So thanks to you, Ms. Doris. Thanks to you and your partners for being a platinum sponsor, and hopefully as a community we'll appreciate it. That it takes many of us to make it work. See you. I'll see you. Trust me. I'll see you on Sunday morning. She has. She knows what she's done. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Susan. I think I want to take a quick break. Yeah, she said that's okay. She's like, you better take the break. When we come back, our partnership with the HSA continues as we invite you, and we can talk about measles and MMR. That's going to be our focus as part of Vaccination Week. Stay tuned.
Digicel has teamed up with Capella. We're giving away tickets for you and a friend to attend Cayman's biggest music festival. Win 2 Capella tickets. Simply activate a 30-day Prime Max plan or be an active postpaid customer, and you could be our lucky winner. Don't miss out on this epic event. Go to your nearest Digicel store today or the My Digicel app for your chance to win. Digicel. Better connected.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square, and I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Let's talk health, Cayman. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is launching a public consultation on May 1st to help develop a new national health strategy for the Cayman Islands. And we need your help. We want to hear your thoughts and experiences with healthcare across all 3 of our islands. Your voice matters. Log on to gov.ky/health-wellness or email mohfeedback@gov.ky to learn more or to get involved.
This is Ronnie Anglin. I work in the water sports industry. I'm concerned that our islands are at a high risk of coral bleaching and coral disease outbreaks. Rising sea levels, sea temperatures, and ocean acidification have caused catastrophic increases in the number and severity of coral bleaching events, disease, and death. Snorkeling and diving may one day not be an option. To learn more about climate risk to our islands, visit www.gov.ky/climate change policy.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and I will not endeavor to do my Spanish as Mr. Andrew was doing earlier, because in the studio we got someone who is fluent and another one like me who tries to be. As we talk about Vaccination Week of the Americas and focusing on measles and MLR, we have the excellent company of both Dr. Jent, Dr. Williams, and Dr. Lamsey Ebanks. You know, I believe, like a library, as you walk in, you come out much more informed and inspired. I believe you sit in the company of people like you who are assembled before me. You also feel a sense of intelligence and inspiration, and it's good. With great reference to the protocol that we normally would follow as we go to the hierarchy, the knights who are joined with me would recognize that we are gentlemen as we look to the ladies in our midst. So, Dr. Lamsey, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm good. How are you doing?
Look at me. I mean, in the bed, I'll be a twin. Right, Dr. Williams?
Yeah,
my twin? You know, one of these days, I would not be surprised if, you know, our portfolio civil service summons me and say, when are you going to behave? And I say, well, you know, my mother's been asking me the same question. Soon come. Dr. Jent, sir, how are you today?
Very good. Yourself, old chap?
Look at me, I'll tell you, man. And the reason why I'm good, right? Think of today. You know, it's for some the second day of our working week. For some, it's the fourth day of the week of being scheduled. But for others, it's just another day.
Yeah.
And that day is a day for both being pensive, being productive. A day where you can not only get, but you can give. And I think.
But you're looking a lot better. The shoulder's not giving you a jip.
Hey.
You've got a smile on your face.
You know why? I'm a very purposeful, prayerful person. And yesterday I consciously decided, I hope Miss Norma isn't paying much attention, right? I get up early like most of us. Yesterday, for whatever reason, a little bit earlier than normal. I won't say how early, but before 9 I had 5 hours in the day. And I found time in that time. It was an hour. It became half an hour. I went down by the beach and I got to sit in the water. And I could actually almost swim. The arm could do almost a full movement. And that felt good.
Good.
And it reminded you how we take so much for granted, for being unable to shave, you know, to raise your hand, to clap, to shake hands.
I've still not got around to shaving. Not done so since I was 18.
You know, I was thinking there. But the reason is that, I was thinking about that in our discussion. We talk about the importance of looking after our health and the like, and thanks to the the outline of our discussion. But too often we don't see what's before us, and we're mindful. So as we look at where we are, and we talk about the vaccination, we can be focusing on measles and MMR. For some of us, those are things of the past. For some of us, they probably are things of concern. To you, Dr. Jetton, and perhaps to Dr. Williams, I mean, give us an understanding, an overview.
It's a really good point you're making there. I mean, I've been in the business now more than 40 years, and I can remember one of my first jobs was pediatric infectious diseases and working on a unit where routinely every night I would be admitting children with whooping cough and measles and a whole wide range of infectious diseases, things that, but particularly the ones that could be prevented by vaccines. I mean, we used to see a lot of things that people don't see now. And it's fascinating, particularly when I'm teaching junior doctors. You can't find cases to show them. Trying to describe them doesn't really do the same thing as the experience of knowing them and seeing those cases. But the really, really important thing is, I think people have forgotten the severity of these illnesses, and going back, I say, to growing up in the 1960s, and knowing that not commonly, but it happened every year that you would know a family in which a child died of an infectious disease, and commonly the commonest ones were measles and whooping cough for that, and the sadness of that, and then starting to work in public health and building up immunisation programs, getting very, very high immunisation rates into districts so that diseases were eliminated. And then to start to see these diseases coming back again, I think it's a real sadness, because amongst those things like clean water, vaccines, things like that, they are the things that make a difference to not just quality of life but quantity of life. And going back to those years where you could expect a proportion of children to die of infectious diseases is not something we ever want to see again. But people have got to understand severity, and they've got to understand that without having the experiences to go through directly themselves. And it's not just, and it's a problem, not just that we've got a lot of clinical staff who would have difficulty recognising and diagnosing because they've not seen those clinical effects, but also the parents, particularly the parents, because it's even slipping away from their grandparents' memories. And when it slips away from the grandparents' memories, it slipped out of societal memory. And please, folks, it's all still there.
To that, Dr. Williams, let me ask you, in business, perhaps we get into trends and regression analysis. In business, we look at things, we try to figure out, well, what does this mean? Where is the market going to? What are interest rates going to look like? And we for those who do business, are not only familiar, but they expect it. And then for the historians, they'll look back and they'll point to things, but that's usually, by the nature of history, that's what has happened. As Dr. Jen was talking about, stuff like measles, for some of us, well, we don't even know. But if you're a medical student and you can't point to something to say, well, this is what it was, other than a textbook, is it then that, well, maybe first, what's the current situation globally with measles? What are we looking at? What are we expecting? Have there been outbreaks?
Thanks, Dwayne. So I agree with the CMO. We actually having a resurgence of measles worldwide, and we will share some data with the public. But I also remember, maybe not 40 years ago, but when I was
That's a bit of a swing.
that was a swing at the CMO. But when I was a medical student, I remember seeing quite a lot of whooping cough. Not that much measles, but whooping cough, And the cough is very difficult to describe. to a student if you had not seen it or lived it yourself. But luckily, the number went down drastically, and the same for measles. So measles have been declared eradicated was declared eradicated in the Americas in 2016. We lost that status in 2018 because it was an outbreak, I believe, in Brazil. But then after that, we have had outbreaks across the region and also in Europe. So just to give you some data so people or the public understand how important is this becoming again, that in 2023 we have in the region of the Americas 54 confirmed cases. In the first 3 months of 2024 we had 91 cases confirmed. So that's almost double in 3 months compared to the whole year in 2023. And for Europe, for the European region, they reported 2,361 cases in 2023. 2024, so in the first 3 months, they have over 3,500 cases. Same in the UK, there were 368 laboratory confirmed cases in 2023. There, in the first 3 months of 2024, there was 573 laboratory confirmed cases. So we can see that there's a great increase. Only in the first 3 months we have way more cases than the whole year 2023. The U.S., especially different states, over 20 states in the U.S., including Florida, including Miami. As you know, there is a lot of traffic between the Cayman and the U.S. and also with the U.K. And we will talk a little bit more about how the disease is transmitted, but measles is considered the most contagious disease out of the vaccine preventable disease. So definitely it's a red light there.
Looking at the data both from PAHO and from the WHO, just trying to even looking at the UK Office of National Statistics and the like. To you, Dr. Williams, we're seeing a trend that seemingly has said, 2023, this many cases, 2024, this increase. What's causing, do we know, that increase in reported cases, confirmed cases?
There may be different causes, but the main cause is the decline in the coverage, in the vaccination coverage for the vaccine that will protect us against measles.
Okay. And this isn't me being any other than a student. And if I heard you correctly, Europe, 300 plus cases in 2023, 361?
2,361, that's a Europe.
Yeah, 2,361 to 3,500.
Yes, that's correct.
Right?
Yeah, remember that's laboratory confirmed cases.
Yeah.
That's the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
Because quite often, if you've identified and confirmed a case in an area, you see others clinically similar. You quite often will not bother to do laboratory testing, or in many places, particularly in some parts of the Americas, they won't have laboratory capacity to test. So that's really telling you that it's there and it's increasing, but you can increase those numbers tenfold, hundredfold for the reality of what's going on.
So to help you with the math, I was trying to figure this out earlier, and it was just a quick cursory sort of review. That's that's more than a 30%, 33% increase year on for the first 3 months versus the next 3. The population hasn't increased that much in that time. So
no, there's a few things been happening.
Right.
The most important one we've got to talk about is that in many parts of the world, particularly Europe and America, there's been a decline in the uptake of vaccines, and some vaccines more than others. But the other thing is, we're undoubtedly seeing a bit of a post-COVID effect in that a lot of infectious disease transmission was suppressed by the measures that were put in to prevent COVID transmission. And so we've now got a large group of people who are susceptible to disease, either because they weren't caught up with a little bit of wild virus transmission in the background, or the numbers of people, absolute numbers of people who didn't get immunised, that were built up in a period where transmission was low, are now coming through the system, are now mixing, and we're now starting to see those effects coming together.
Right. And then with that, once we get the vaccine, I mean, a couple of things, because there is, sorry, Miss Susan, we have to take the break. Oh, I do apologize. I'm in a class, and I'm learning, right?
Got to keep an eye on the boss.
Yeah, she's in the corner upstairs. That sounds bad. She has a corner office. That's what I mean. Let's pause and let's take a break. And when you come back, we invite you to join us.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments April 29th to May 5th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you are seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.portercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That's 949-9020.
Shop at Funky Tangs, the home of electronics and more. Check out Funky Tangs' 2 locations, Shannon Road and Countryside Savannah, for loads of savings. In stock at Funky Tangs, both locations: stoves, fridges, and small appliances, mini split air conditioning units, sheets and comforters, all sizes, window curtains, cell phones and telephone accessories, musical instruments, karaoke and Bluetooth speakers. New service now available at Funky Tangs, computer and cell phone repairs. Funky Tangs. For more information, call 949-0998.
If you're a parent, you know that providing your child with a quality early childhood education can be expensive. However, the Ministry of Education offers financial assistance through its Early Childhood Assistance Program to help qualifying Caymanian families cover the costs at registered early childhood settings. Visit our online application portal at moeapplications.gov.ky to learn more and get started. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education.
Cayman, get ready for an adrenaline-fueled event like no other. Round 2 of the 2024 Sea1 National Tour, Sunday, May 5th at South Sound Dock. Watch as Cayman's top riders push their jet skis to the limits. JJ McLean, Klein Glidden, Brandon Elliott, and so many others. Family-friendly atmosphere, free admission, food trucks, and non-stop entertainment. Feel the vibe and ride the wave with the Cayman Islands Watercraft Association. Round 2 of the 2024 Sea1 National Tour, Sunday, Sunday, May 5th, South Sound Dock, starting at 11 a.m. Proudly sponsored by Car City, Cayman Islands Coast Guard, Cayman Islands Fire Service, Pepsi, Fast Signs, J&M Equipment, Ministry of Youth, Sports and Heritage, Party Animals, Seabreeze Charters and Jet Ski Rentals, Verdant Isle Farm, Health City Cayman Islands, National Logistics, Onshore IT, Ministry of Tourism and Ports, Radio Cayman, and Breeze FM.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And thanks to this partnership with the HSA. And as we talk about Vaccination Week in the Americas, man, you go to best that'll be Vaccination Week. Focusing on measles and MMR. Dr. Jet, our CMO, Dr. Dwayne Ebanks, and Dr. Williams are our guests. Dr. Ebanks.
So, I have never seen measles. So I'm one of those medical students or physicians that have not had the opportunity to see it in person. And I'm glad. And I don't want to see it. That's the thing about it. There are a lot of other new diseases out there for me to deal with, and a lot of other non-communicable diseases that we are focusing on. So I don't want to see measles because it's so highly contagious. It's the most contagious respiratory virus that we have out there, and people don't think about it that way. And I had to do the research for this because I don't see measles, and looking at the numbers, and it's quite staggering of the effects that measles can have, not just on causing death, because there's a high chance of death, but long-term morbidity and long-term what we call, you can get encephalitis or inflammation of the brain, and 1 out of 1,000 children that get measles will have that.
Yeah.
And that's long-term blindness, the deafness, and morbidity. They get secondary infections. They get pneumonias. They can overwhelm, because it's so contagious, it can overwhelm the medical system. Because if there's so many children that are ill to the point that they need to be admitted, and they have measles, so they are contagious, they need to be admitted, and you have other children that need to be admitted. We focus it on measles, but like Dr. Gett mentioned earlier, the measles, mumps, and rubella, it's 3 different viruses, and the rubella is important as well, especially for pregnant women, because it can cross the placenta and cause permanent damage to the neonate or to the fetus. So you have babies being born, again, with permanent disabilities that will not only affect cognitively, it will affect their hearing, their sight.
And there's a long, I think, term impact on the family, the society, and all these things that maybe we're not. I mean, I won't speak to them, but it's as you share that, I'm thinking about all the other knock-on effects.
Yeah. One of the things in doing the research that had me really think about it for a minute was that everybody knows about the Ebola outbreak that occurred in the Congo, and I think it was 2016 to 2020. Yeah. There was a massive outbreak, and it was all over the news before COVID got there. That was the big outbreak, and it got to the U.S. And they had 2,700 something deaths. At the same time, the same country had a measles outbreak, and there was almost 8,000 deaths. Yeah. But so that's a significant number. And we think about the deaths of Ebola, and nobody thinks about the deaths of measles, and it kills. And it's not just a childhood disease. Yeah. Even though I'm a pediatrician and I'm here to talk about it being in children, but measles can occur in adults. Anybody born before 1957, not aging anybody.
Dr. Jet?
No, I'm just a touch after 57.
We're just checking, make sure.
It's assumed that they had measles in their lifetime because it was so rampant. The vaccine wasn't approved till I think it was 1978. 68. And so we have a whole sector of society, which are the elderly, which have not, we don't know if they've been vaccinated, whether or not they can, if they're exposed to measles, and they're already immune.
Yeah. And this is, as I look at, the Cayman context in particular.
And we have a lot of families that live together. You have the elderly that live with their children and their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren.
And there are many of us, Dr. Ebanks, as you talked about doing your research. For us, our research, we're looking at the family photos when we had measles or the mumps or chicken pox or the like. We can talk to our siblings. Remember when we were laying in the bed next to each other and scratching the backs when we were supposed chicken pox, right? And sadly, there are many of us who go, huh? What's that? We don't know. So I know we have to break, and I appreciate your time, but when we come back, maybe we can talk about it. And you said something, and I was almost inclined to make a joke, but it's too serious when you talk about inflammation of the brain in terms of encephalitis and then like, some of us want a bigger brain, but you don't want it that way. This is...
it's an inflamed brain, so it's damage to the brain.
Exactly. And as much as I learned through jest, I think this is where we need to see how serious it can be and how important. I was thinking after the break we talk about a few things, and not just the statistics, but access to it with the greatest respect, recognizing that many of us are more than ever confused about stuff that's coming at us, questioning whether that resource, whether it's a government entity or whether it's some established, otherwise accepted thing, is it still credible? Could we, with the greatest respect, maybe ask about that, find out how we can have any affairs relayed, how we can trust but verify different things. I mean, I have, like many of us, the little mark on our arm somewhere that showed that we got some particular injection that the parents took us to get because that was thought to be. And then there are probably some of us who have that but who will not take this particular injection at this time, who questions whether, and they may be unfounded, but they may be something that have been. So could we talk about it? Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
And then Susan, what do you think? Is it good now? She's like, yeah, boy. All right, Dr. Jet, Dr. Williams, and Dr. Lamsey Ebanks are our guests. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Right now at the Cayman Islands National Museum in Georgetown, they are hosting their Heritage Showcase. You can find stew conch, stew turtle, stew whelks, and Cayman-style beef for sale, including cassava cakes, swanky, and tamarind juice. The showcase ends at 2 p.m. In international news, Rishi Sunak has promised billions more for defense to counter threats from an axis of authoritarian states. The Prime Minister said UK military spending would rise to 2.5% of national income by 2030 in a move that hardens a previous spending pledge. He stressed the UK was, quote, not on the brink of war, but claimed the extra money would put the country's defense industry on a war footing. The second day of Donald Trump's hush money trial got off to a rocky start for the former president's legal team. On Tuesday, Judge Juan Merchan heard arguments about whether comments Mr. Trump made about those involved in the case violated a gag order. Sparks quickly flew between his lead lawyer, Todd Blanche, and the judge. After prosecutors alleged 10 of his social media posts violated the order, Mr. Blanche argued his client had a right to address political attacks. Judge Merchan was not buying it. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News. Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And thanks to Dr. Jet, Dr. Williams, and Dr. Lamsey Ebanks for sharing with us. I recognize that for whatever reasons, or reason, I'm sure there's probably more than one, when it comes to health and health care, we want to ensure that we access it, we want the best, but then almost in a sense, there's a growing reticence of more questions than answers, as we say. But how do we allay some of those fears? How do we confirm some of the things that gives us greater sense of, certainty, credibility, and like your daddy says something and you believe it. I mean, he knows everything, right?
I think the days of the doctor knows everything and you believe the doctor is long past, and quite rightly so in lots of ways. Particularly because we have a principle of informed consent, and that means that we have to have a frank and open discussion with patients or parents who might be giving consent on behalf of a young child, and they have a right to good quality information, and they have a right to know whether something is safe or not. All medicines, all medical interventions, they carry a risk with them. Vaccines are no different to that. The question is the benefit outweighing the risk? And with vaccines, that's very, very well established and very well understood. But we shouldn't just be saying, hey, this is for the best. People should have access to that information, and they have a right to have any of their questions answered as fully as possible. And the vast majority of parents who are not having their children vaccinated, by the way, don't have particular concerns. It's more, things like access, or the complacency that this isn't a problem now, that is behind lower immunisation rates. But everybody's got the right to that information and should know how safe a vaccine is and how dangerous an illness is.
I think it's important, the relationship that you have with your patients, and that you're able to have a conversation and talk to them and they trust you. It's a bit of a taboo thing to discuss, but COVID has not helped how society views medical personnel and lab personnel and the research personnel that comes up with the vaccines. But I think one thing that comes out of that for us is that we did the best at the time with what we knew for something novel for everybody. And so it's not I talk to patients about it fairly. It's like physicians and scientists don't like to say we didn't know, but the world actually stood up and said we don't know, but we're actively going to try to figure this out. And that's the road that was chosen. Yeah. And so I try to talk to people to look before COVID and how they felt about vaccines at that point in time, and whether or not they were vaccinated, and have they had conversations with their parents or their siblings, and what is the reason that they specifically don't want to get vaccinated, because vaccines are quite effective. By your second vaccine of MMR, 98% coverage is expected. It's a little bit less with mumps, and it's more with rubella, because it's the 3 within that vaccine. The side effects within 3 to 7 days, as with every other vaccine, you can get fever, redness at the site, baby can be irritable. With MMR, what's a little increased is the chances of having what we call a febrile seizure, because you have high fevers that can occur. But the evidence has shown, and we have given out millions and millions and millions of doses of MMR. So this is not based on we're still collecting data and we're still trying to figure this out. This is vaccines that have been given out since 1960.
50 plus years.
Yeah, 50 plus years. I was just trying. Okay, 50 plus years.
Some people are sensitive.
I know, that's a lot of data that you have to look at and to see the results and the reports for it. So that helps us to know. So we know this can happen. The paracetamol, having analgesia or painkillers or fever reducers, as people say, paracetamol, ibuprofen, Tylenol, will help to some extent and help the parents feel better. But having a seizure disorder isn't a contraindication to getting the vaccine either, because then you just have a conversation with the parent, and they're a little bit easier to manage because they know the seizures. The first time you see a febrile seizure, it's a horrible thing. And 100% of the children that have a febrile seizure, because they have a high fever, because of the MMR, don't have permanent damage. Because the fever is not because the virus has gone into the brain and caused issues. It's the fever that's causing it that occurs.
I want to ask maybe a couple things, because if you have not had a child or been in the presence of a child having a febrile seizure, when you see that, I can remember seeing it, and it scary isn't the word. It's beyond that, because this is a child that is still a few months old in some cases, right? In your arms, and all of a sudden they're doing this. Dr. Lams, what is a febrile seizure? I mean, repeat it again for us. And should we make the older person answer the one who may have
We've seen more. We're going. We're really going shallow.
Sorry, JD.
Well, you get the febrile seizures with the illness as well. You get
Yes,
febrile seizures
even
with
worse.
measles, and I can tell you, measles is miserable. Children are horribly miserable, and they get very hot, and they get, so. But
And
yes, back to the question.
If you have the seizures with the vaccine, you don't have the long-term effects. But if you have seizures from having measles, you're gonna more than likely have long-term morbidity problems. You're not going to be the same child afterwards versus with the vaccine. That would be my first thing. So that's one of the side effects that parents, you need to talk them through it. If they have a family history of febrile seizures, or as we say, fever going to the head, you have to find the ways of finding it out colloquially. Then it's easier to have a discussion with them, because then grandma knows or whoever knows that this has happened before, and that helps to go through it. There's your platelets can go a bit low. It's very rare as well. It's like 1 in 40,000. And within 6 weeks of getting it, and it doesn't have any long-term problems as well. You may notice some easy bruising, and you'll go home. You can do a blood test, make sure it doesn't go too low, and you'll go home without any problems.
With, let's say, MMR vaccine, a couple of things. We know tetanus, and I think I'm told the US standard versus the UK standard. One is 5, one is 10, or the years are different. With MMR, you get the vaccine, how many doses, how far apart, how long does it last, sort of deal. Is that something, because I was reading and I was, this sounds have changed, but let me hear it now. Who?
Yeah, this.
Oh,
so
the Centurion.
No, the MMR vaccine, actually, they recommend 2 doses. And that's the recommendation from WHO and the Pan American Health Organizations. In the Cayman Island, we gave the doses at 15 and 18 months. I understand, and we know that internationally the recommendation from CDC and from others is to give the first dose at 12 months of the year. And it's something that we will be working towards to go that. We're making a lot of different changes on our vaccine vaccination schedule. So that will be one of them. But it's a step. But we actually in the Cayman Islands 15 months and 18 months.
Right. Recognizing that, and thanks for clarifying, Dr. Williams, that the CDC has now revised it to an earlier age. What's the benefit of earlier versus delaying it? What are the concerns of earlier? And I want to say this from not knowing, but understanding from different people who seem to would know. You don't want to do something too early on because of this. You don't want to delay it too.
The difference getting a 12 month or 15 months is of course, is a 3 months period where the child will be at risk of contracting the disease. Remember, the child will get some in protection from the mother from pregnancy that will last for a period of time, for a few months. And like I said, the CDC and others have moved now to a 12-month first dose in order to reduce that risk, that period of time where the child doesn't have the protection against mumps, against measles, sorry. But again, that's something that we are aware of. The public health department is something that we are, I could say, definitely within this year discuss and try to get to that approach.
So I think we have a lot of parents that look things up, and I actually enjoy Google Parents because we can have a conversation about what they find, and we can look at it together, and we can see this website's not reputable. Let's move on. If you get the measles vaccine before a year, before 9 months, then you still have to have the 2 other doses. So you still have to have 3 doses. You will have a total of 3 doses. So I think that needs to be explained to parents as well if they come wanting it earlier because they know they're traveling. Because we're a country that loves to go on our planes, and we have a lot of people that come in and a lot of people that leave. So they know they're traveling to areas where they've noted that they have a measles outbreak, or we're talking about measles in that area. They're going to want to come and protect their child that's under 12 years old. But if you 12 months old, but if you vaccinate before then you still have to do the 2 after.
Why is that?
The problem is that mothers will have, are almost certainly going to have measles antibodies because either they've been infected as a child or they've had MMR vaccine. And those cross the placenta and the baby's born with protection from measles because it's got those antibodies circulating. Problem is, the measles vaccine is a live virus vaccine and you inject it into a baby who's already got antibodies. The vaccine gets wiped out and you get no immune recognition, so you don't get any immunity. So there's this balancing act that we've got to play of waiting till we think the measles antibodies from mum have disappeared, but not leaving too long a time. And of course, it's not the same in every child. So usually the antibodies will have waned enough by about 9-10 months that the vaccine would be effective. Leave it to 12 months and you are 90% sure that you're going to be effective, but you still put in another dose 6 months later just to back that up. But if you start giving it sooner and sooner and sooner, and that's different, of course, from other vaccines like the diphtheria, tetanus, whooping cough vaccines, where you don't get those maternal antibodies, and so you can give the vaccines early.
Okay, so just as we go into the break, one quick question. Once we've had the 2 doses in that time frame, so beyond 9 months, so that 12, 15, 18-month period, that vaccine, once you have the MMR vaccine, good for life?
It is.
It's like
Live virus vaccines are usually good for life.
Right. Which is what we understand before, perhaps brings us to where we have questions. Can we pause, take a break? I'll tell you publicly, I have some dark chocolate. I'm willing to share it. Maybe. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Digicel has teamed up with Capella. We're giving away tickets for you and a friend to attend Cayman's biggest music festival. Win 2 Capella tickets. Simply activate a 30-day Prime Max plan or be an active postpaid customer and you could be our lucky winner. Don't miss out on this epic event. Go to your nearest Digicel store today or the My Digicel app for your chance to win. Digicel. Better connected.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet. Because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. And I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Capella Music Festival is back on Saturday, April 27th at the Festival Green at Camana Bay, featuring a jam-packed lineup of local performers and international stars with reggae royalty, Damian Jr. Gun Marley, soft rock heavyweight Richard Marx, dance pop star Becky Hill, Afrobeat star, Ira Star, soca sensation, Guess the Man, and world champion DJ Bubby. Purchase your tickets now at CapellaMusicFestival.com.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for doing this, and thanks to our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Jen, to Dr. Williams and Dr. Dwayne Ebanks. I think parents in particular who are listening are appreciative. One, we have a very, very, evolved, I think, and informed health services sector. We have a fantastic, health services authority, and whatever our views are, personal or otherwise, we want to access, and we appreciate the access that we have. But I think, Dr. Lamsey, you shared earlier, there are a lot of questions that we have, and we're not sure. If I might, please guide me to what you shared and to what we know of you. Thankfully, there are other of your colleagues who are saying, hey, you have a question. Google is, for some of us, not synonymous with research, but that's where we go to. And we take what we read, have no clue what it is. It's a Mickey Mouse, website, but we take it as gospel. But if we don't talk to you, how are we going to be informed? I mean, I have no clue, about medical stuff. But if I talk to my medical friends, I might be a little bit less confused.
And one of the big, I call it the elephant in the room when it comes to MMR, is every parent comes to talk about autism and MMR. Not every, but a lot of parents that are skeptical you have to have a conversation with. And we talk about Google, and Google research confusing people. The medical fraternity got confused by one of our own in the abuse of data and forging data and fudging data, and which happens, but that the repercussions of that Wakefield event is still lingering with us. Coming out of that, a lot of research has gone into looking into autism and MMR just because of that. Even though we've said that's not true, he's no longer a medical doctor. We do not associate with his reports and results, but nonetheless, the damage has already been done. Yep. And so that allowed us to open up and take a look at it. And they've looked at 1 million children, I think it is. There was one German report, and there was no change in it. In Japan, they actually stopped giving the vaccine based on that for a couple of years, and there was no change. Actually, the diagnosis of autism, I think, went up to some extent that was statistically significant. So there has been no association with the MMR vaccine and autism. There is when autism becomes obvious to parents, and a lot of parents, if you sit and talk to them about it, it's obvious before, but when it can no longer be denied is usually around the age group that you get your MMR vaccines. That's when you're looking for the language development. That's when you're looking for the communication development. That's when you're looking for the signs of autism. And so if they're not there, you want to have a reason for it not happening. And that made that a lot easier to occur. But there's been so much research since then. If you go to any of the websites, anything that deals with MMR, there's like 15, 20 different papers thereafter, because it was something that we took as a medical and scientific community very serious and looked at it. And autism is the increasing it is really, it's multifactorial and multi-genetic, and that's not something we can go into today specifically. But it has to do with the diagnosis and us being a little more aware of it, and us being able to talk with our physicians and our families, and having a lot more interventions available.
And being sufficiently informed but receptive, open-minded. And before I asked Dr. Jet, which is probably more of a policy thing, there was another vaccination that we used to give.
I know.
What was that? Yeah, that one.
That is a Cayman one. I'm sorry. I did not hear of that before I got here, and maybe I tried to do the research after I got here and heard of it and found nothing else. Hepatitis B?
Yeah, the B one. I
was very confused with that as well.
And this is, thank you for that, because this is why I wanted perhaps maybe here on Talk Today, But certainly, and I almost would joke, but I'll leave that joke. I shared it during the break, but I'll share it later in a year's time. But this is where I think we need to be able to ask questions and to be as adamant about something. But by the same token, don't be so indignant that you become dogmatic and you're unwilling to say, wait a minute, I got it wrong. And these are policy. I mean, the medical fraternity is being questioned, decade and a half later. Wakefield, a good while, right?
Longer than that.
Longer than that, right? Okay.
Yeah, I was that was before my last career, and when I was still a director of public health in the northwest of England, and Wakefield really hit hard.
Yeah.
And it was strange. I mean, I remember reading the papers and looking at it and thinking, there's some real discontinuities in this research. It just doesn't make sense. It missed a lot of the hypotheses that you would normally have. You couldn't see a direct, plausible biological linkage. The effects that he was supposedly describing in the gut were just not reproducible by anybody else. The statistics didn't look right. And yet it was one of those kind of things we always suffer from in research, in that the journals will jump to publish what they think is really interesting and novel things, and they won't publish things which are boring and especially negative. So you try publishing a paper which says X does not cause autism, nobody's interested. And yet suddenly you get this problem that you really need that research that this case, MMR vaccine, did not cause autism, and you wouldn't have got room in a journal before then.
And this is where the public notation will come for later on, because there has to be a balance of probabilities. Yeah. We're told that certain activities are safe compared to other things. They're almost absolutely safe, if there's such a thing. But should you encounter an issue, the probability of it being serious and severe is also high, right? Doesn't mean you should stop it. Wearing the seatbelts, for instance, I believe would help you in the end more than it would hurt you if you wore it, right? So with that, Dr. Jack, maybe publicly an invitation to you and a panel for future discussions, in understanding that just like the disaster that we can see now that was foisted on the world, when the WHO got it wrong, when the head guy in the UK, whatever his name was, said things that were, and this is what has, I think, caused us on the local level to be distrusting.
Fascinating discussion.
Yeah.
I'd love to be involved in that, because I mean, I'm not Caymanian. I didn't grow up in Cayman. I've fallen in love with the place. Who wouldn't? I mean, this has been a great gift for for this. But I can guess that 80% of people's beliefs I would recognise and understand.
Yeah.
But there will be those things which are different locally, that are in the folklore, that are in people's memories about incidents, particularly because it's such a tight society, has been seen in a particular child who will be known to everybody. And I've worked in many places all around the world, and I see the same thing, that there's always a local element to understand and to be respected. That's really important, because I think a lot of professionals think, like the parents at fault, the parents not understanding, the parents not looking after the child, the parents not. It's not. We should always be thinking as a profession, it's our fault, because we have got a duty to make our services available. We've got to make our services understandable, and we have got to be able to take time with our patients. And I always regarded it when I couldn't, not saying somebody didn't do what I wanted them to do, but if somebody went out to the door of the surgery and I had not been able to explain to them in the best way it was possible for me to do it, that always hurt. But not being able to get the patient, the parent, the child properly involved in their care, so they knew, they understood, and they made a properly informed decision. Even if that decision was, thank you very much, doctor, but no, that's perfectly legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never mind that, as long as people had been thoughtful in when they made their decision, but us not making the chances for them to decide and access the system. That's one of the biggest problems in declining immunisation rates.
And with that, I think, as we ask Dr. Williams for the final thoughts, first to Dr. Lance Ebanks, you shared at the outset that familial knowledge, the grandmother will know, when you talked about the febrile. Maybe that's knowing your patient, just like knowing your customer, knowing your community, being able to relate. Share with us as we appreciate where we are, and maybe in an era where minimus, whether it's the medical student or the practicing physician, but like the parent, we haven't seen measles. And then finally to Dr. Williams, how do we get it and where do we go? And I got physio shortly, so let's go. Dr. Ebanks.
Where do we get what? The disease or the vaccine?
Yeah, he's going to tell us about the vaccine. You tell us about why it's important for us to share that knowledge with our children and our grandchildren.
Because it is the most contagious disease, and one person has the chance of infecting over 19 persons just by respiratory droplets. It stays. We've scared people with COVID, so it's the same thing. It stays on. It's known because this one's been around a little longer. We have more than 50 years.
This was
research.
Real.
So this
really
stays on the counters or the tops for 2 hours. When you come in a room, you are contagious before you actually have symptoms as well. So it is a serious disease that I don't want to ever see. And I think it's important that, just going off a little bit on this, the whole point of science is questioning. And I think people think that they expect the doctors and the scientists to always have the answer. But if we did it that way, we wouldn't be improving healthcare, and it would not be to the standard that it is at this point in time. It's because we keep questioning. It's because we say, okay, this works, but can we do it better? This doesn't work really well. There must be another way to do it. So it's the willing to understand that you don't know everything all the time that actually gets us to get the research that gets us to be healthier. And my take home would be that the absence of measles in circulation, the virus in circulation, does not mean that we are not at risk for a measles outbreak, because we are a small island with a lot of different nationalities and a lot of people coming and going, a lot of travel. More so than I have seen in a lot of other Caribbean islands. We have a lot more travel.
You know what? I can almost do a Cayman Airways commercial. There's a flight coming to the back. RTP. Dr. Williams, sir.
Thank you, Dwayne. Just a couple of points before we go. I actually agree 100% with both the CMO and with Dr. Lamsey. This is the parents need to have a discussion with their primary care physician, an honest discussion, and make a decision once they are well informed. We have long time past the paternalist approach to medicine, where the doctor knows everything and tell you what to do. We are now in what we call patient-centered care. We want to have a discussion, we want them to decide. My two daughters are way past pediatric age, but if they were in that age and I take them to Dr. Lancy for any other problem, why I wouldn't trust when she explained to me about the effect or the benefits of the vaccine? So that's one of my advice to the public. Discuss with your primary care physician, with your pediatrician, and have an honest discussion, then make a decision based on that. The vaccine is available not only at the HSA but also in the private sector, and the schedule for the HSA is on the HSA website, which is now www.hsa.ky. You can go and see the schedule. It's usually a Saturday clinic in the morning. Those are catch-up clinics though, but they are normally vaccines when they reach 15 and 18 months, and that is recommended by the pediatrician, followed by the public health nurses. And the private pediatricians also offer the vaccine, which is the same vaccine that is offered at the HSA, which is the vaccine we acquired from the Pan American Health Organization. But thank you again. It's a big topic. We had last week CME on measles and the MMR and it was very well attended by both private and public healthcare providers. And it was a very, very good reception. And we will continue to discuss about this. Like Dr. Lancy said, we have not have a case in Caymans, a confirmed case in the Cayman Islands from 2002, so over 22 years. But that doesn't mean that the risk is not there. The risk is always there, it's always latent. And now with the increase of cases in the US, in the Americas, and also in Europe, we definitely the risk is even higher. And our vaccination coverage has declined since COVID. Actually, we are now picking up again after COVID, but from 2019 to 2023, the percentage has declined, not only in Cayman, all across the world, which also increased the risk around when you travel. But although we are catching up back to the number we were before, the risk is still there. So I will encourage everyone to have a frank discussion with your healthcare provider and make the best decision for you and your family. Thank you.
Thanks, not just for coming, but being so candid and encouraging our parents, as Dr. Lam says here. Do your research, whatever that is, wherever that is, but then ask of someone who should know. And I think, to your point, if you trust Dr. Lamsey, for instance, in one capacity, she's trustworthy in all capacities.
I usually tell parents, if you trust me when your child is sick, why don't you trust me when your child is well? It to me, it goes there.
Yeah, that's the one time, the human condition sometimes is, we'll leave it at that. But Dr. Jan, thank you. You're always inspire me to be encouraged to make comments that may sometimes, we'll pick it up another time, right?
Probably better that way.
Yes.
But thank you for your time and helping us to get this message over.
Thanks for the team for facilitating this, and to Miss Susan for putting up with me. Now please join Mr. Art tomorrow morning for the record, and we'll come back for more talk today right after. And there's a lot of things we should do, and if you listen, you might find a way that you can. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
If they are talking about us,
living in your head rent-free all this time,
we must be relevant. Radio Cayman, since 1976.